Today, we have 1.4 billion people that's underbanked or unbanked. Right? They have no access to domestic payment. President Biden's administration, that was Operation 2.0 was in operations to now President Trump being the champion of crypto. I do believe that regulations exist to support industry.
So recently, you've hit a massive new milestone, 250 million users. And where do you find the most crypto-friendly governments, regulators?
So we see bright spots in many different parts of the world.
We have institutional players coming in every day. Do you think we're still going to see those big volatile cycles?
In 2024 is the best performing asset class.
Yes, Bitcoin is breaking all-time highs. Any thoughts or price predictions for 2025?
Gracias.
Gracias, de nada. Welcome back. Today we're in Barcelona for Pizza Day, and we have the pleasure of having Binance CEO, Teng. Thanks a lot for being here. How are you liking Barcelona?
I love it. When I come here, Bitcoin reach all-time high. So
Yeah,
I need to come back more often.
Yeah, great Pizza Day.
Yeah.
So today we're celebrating Bitcoin Pizza Day, kind of as a reminder of how far the space has come from two pizzas to global asset class. In your own crypto journey, did you have your own Pizza Day moment where you realized this was something real?
Well, so I got to know about crypto in around 2017.
All right.
And the more I was a regulator there. So, but the more I studied this and the more deep dive I did, I realized that crypto exists because it solves problems.
All right.
Financial exclusion has been a big problem. I've been in the financial services industry for more than 30 years. And since day one, central bankers, financial institutions are beating their chest to say that we need to bring about much greater financial inclusion globally. But until today, we have 1.4 billion people that's underbanked or unbanked. Right? They have no access to domestic payment, cross-border payment, or even a proper store of wealth because they have no access to the financial system. So crypto exists to solve problems. And the more I realize that, the more I believe in this industry that it will go mainstream. But for it to go mainstream, you need two elements to come into play. First, you need clearer rules and regulations. And then secondly, you need institutional adoption. So we saw both of that in 2024, right? So the launch of ETF in the United States and then approval around the world, you saw the institutional adoption starting to take place. And then secondly, more and more regulators around the world are starting to regulate this space to give clarity. And with President Trump's election towards the end of the year, I think it gave crypto another big boost on that front. We have gone from President Biden's administration, that was Operation 2.0 was in operations, to now President Trump being the champion of crypto and giving much clarity, coming out with very thoughtful rules and regulations on that front. On the other front, supporting investments into this space, right? So we are very grateful for those. So I do think that the future is very bright.
All right. And as you mentioned, you have a background in regulation. You used to be a regulator in Singapore, and now you're leading one of the biggest players in the crypto industry. What was that transition like, and how did it happen?
Well, so firstly, I'm very, very grateful to be given the opportunity to lead one of the most dynamic companies in the world. I'm really thankful to CZE, all the different co-founders that supported me. And we have an extremely talented, very, very committed team, right, of senior leaders, of different staff members. So they make my job much easier, and it's a real joy to be really driving the company and driving the industry going forward. But that transition to me was not difficult because even as a regulator, I was a very different regulator.
All right.
I'm not the type of regulator that just look at the risk aspect of it, because I do believe that regulations exist to support industry, right? You can come up with a set of regulations, but if you choose to just focus on risk and regulations, normally the regulations are very, very strict, right? And very few people make use of them, and the industry wouldn't grow. Instead, what we should be focusing on is smart regulation, meaning the regulations achieve the right balance between supporting growth of the industry and innovation on one aspect, and then secondly, addressing risk and mitigating risk. So I told you I was involved I got to know crypto in 2017, and by 2018, I was then in Abu Dhabi. I was the CEO of Abu Dhabi Global Market. We became one of the first in the world to start regulating crypto, right? And I was telling my staff then, to know crypto, you need to you need to fiddle in it. You need to invest in it. Right? So you'll not be a credible regulator of banks if you don't have a bank account because they don't know how bank works in
Of
general.
course, yeah.
So same. I mean, you want to regulate the crypto industry, you need to understand how crypto works, right? How do you set up your own wallet, your private keys? How do you do a transfer? What is public blockchain? What is private blockchain? Etc. etc. But unfortunately, I was a few that started to invest into this space, and most of my staff then didn't choose it.
Absolutely. So recently, you've hit a massive new milestone, 250 million users. What kind of challenges do you face at that huge scale? Because I imagine it must be very different from the challenges you were facing 5 years ago.
So it's not 250, it's 270 million.
All right.
So we are north of 270 million users now. What I would say is we are very, very grateful to our users for their continued trust and confidence in us. We have grown tremendously since 2024. So we started 2024 with 170 million users. So in a short span of about 16 months, we have added 100 million new users to our platform. So we are now more than 270 million users. But what is very important for us is to continue to develop and become the best platform out there to serve our users and their needs, right? To make sure that we place users at the center of everything that we do in terms of decision making. We safeguard user assets. We keep pushing with innovation to come up with the best features for our users on that. So we are the best platform out there, and we take that user trust and confidence very seriously, and we continue to push the agenda in terms of making sure there's proper security, proper safety, which we cannot stress enough. You have seen cryptocurrency platforms that have been hacked last year and this year.
Yes.
So we have made massive investments in the securities area. We have made massive investments in the compliance area. We are now the most regulated exchange globally with more than 22 different regulators regulating us. So we will continue to really support global crypto adoption.
You've mentioned before that you think global adoption is at about 7 to 8%.
Yes.
What do you think are the key steps in order to push that number higher to, let's say, 15, 20%? Where is the bottleneck? Is it education, marketing, product development, security?
I would say that the key drivers are already in place. So if you compare to 2017 when we first got to know crypto, the landscape today is so much
Very different.
better, right? So in 2017, crypto adoption was less than 1%. Today, we're about 7 and 8%. But the landscape has changed so drastically. Now, you have all the major institutions all starting to embrace crypto. Every big institutions in the world have a crypto blockchain agenda. You know, in Spain, you have BBVA supporting crypto, and we applaud all those efforts, right? So we are seeing that big movement by institutions into this space. And with that, you see corporate treasuries allocating countries around the world have reached out to us to try to set up their own crypto reserve, right? And they want to know how to do it. And we also have countries reaching out to us to help them develop regulatory platform, right? So with institutions with greater regulatory clarity around the world, the key drivers are in place for that very fast adoption to come through. So I'm bullish, right? But as you mentioned, education is always important. And education is not only for investors, but we do a lot of investors education through things like Binance Academy globally. We do a lot of education for regulators and regulatory agencies around the world because that knowledge is still lacking. Many people still say that, crypto is used for things like money laundering.
Yeah.
So if you look at facts and data, that's furthest from the truth. If you look at what the US Financial Crime Office released any given year, between 800 billion to 2 trillion is being laundered through the traditional system, right? And fiat is not traceable. And if you have 10 million and you start distributing them in cash, you can't quite trace that. Blockchain is a traceable technology. Crypto is a traceable technology. You can trace where the funds are moving, right? So, and if you look at the percentage of crypto transaction that's involved in some form of illicit crimes, is so much lower, 0.14% compared to what's in the traditional world, between 2 and 5%, right? So we want to make sure that we continue to educate and highlight to the regulators and the law enforcement agencies the different tools available for them to fight financial crimes within the blockchain and crypto industry. And we work very closely with them on that.
All right. And speaking about countries, geographically, where do you see the most potential for Binance in crypto adoption? What regions or markets? And where do you find the most crypto-friendly governments or regulators?
Well, so we see bright spots in many different parts of the world. We see, Asia Pacific developing very strongly, Latin America, different parts of Middle East, Africa region developing very, very strongly. So we see in different regions embracing, adopting, and we're going to see strong growth coming out of that, with US moving from a period of Operation Choke Point to now under President Trump really supporting crypto. Again, you're going to see much greater development on that front, and bright spots coming out from the United States. So I think there are many different areas of growth with institutions coming through. Many new products will be developed as well to support the sector. So generally, I'm very bullish about all these developments. I would say that one of the most developed and good regulations on crypto comes out from the Middle East area at this point in time, right? So from where my previous home is, Abu Dhabi Global Market, we are the first in the Middle East and probably first in the world to start regulating crypto in a comprehensive manner. There's a very comprehensive regime to Dubai Vara, being a very dedicated crypto regulator, to Bahrain, that is regulated by the central bank. All those countries have very good regulations supporting.
All right. We've come very far in the last few years. Now we have the Bitcoin ETFs. We have institutional players coming in every day. Do you think we're still going to see those big volatile cycles? Or do you think Bitcoin is going to behave more like traditional assets like stocks or gold?
So I'm just going to make two comments on that front. Firstly, crypto used to be embraced only by retail investors, right? So unlike any other asset class in human history, commodities, stocks, bonds, FX, it's always the institutional adoption that comes first. Then it goes down to corporate, high net worth individual, and then finally retail access, right? But if you look at crypto, it was the retail that embraced it for the longest time. The rest were ignoring it, saying it's a passing fad, you'll pass. They're not investing time and energy on it. And now, I mean, all the institutions around the world are starting to embrace that. And so from a very small market capitalization product, right? So if you look at market capitalization of crypto industry in the past, it's very, very small, right? 100 million, then went to 10 billion, 100 billion. Now it's a 3 trillion, 3 plus trillion. Hopefully it'll reach 4 trillion very soon. Market capitalization product, right? So when market capitalization becomes much bigger, you're going to have different sort of investors other than just retail, right? And your investors are different appetite, duration of holding, etc. And that becomes a product that's going to see less volatility, for one. And if you look at performance of Bitcoin last year and this year, year to date, in 2024 is the best performing asset class.
Yes.
2025 year to date is the best performing asset class if you compare to S&P 500, NASDAQ, gold,
Everything.
Everything is the best performing asset class. So I think that speaks volume. We are still in a very early stage. And the strong drivers will make sure that more and more institutions, high net worth individual, corporate treasuries all coming through, including countries. So I think the drivers are very strong.
And speaking of, as we're speaking, Bitcoin is breaking all-time highs at 110,000. Do you have any thoughts or price predictions for 2025?
I wish I have a crystal ball, but I don't. But I remain bullish. I remain optimistic because of the key drivers I'm seeing.
All right, last question. For someone who's just starting to explore crypto, what do you think are the first steps beginners would take?
So we always say this to beginners, right? So learn as much as possible. It's a different industry. It has different characteristics. Spend time understanding and learning. Do your own research. Don't rely on what other people tell you, right? So there are many people out there that profess to be crypto, and they'll tell you to buy this and that. But it's your own money. Deal with your own money, do your own research, and do them properly. And then third thing, if you start investing in crypto, start small, right? Start with money that you can set aside, invest in. It is a different product class, so learn about it first before you get to invest much bigger, right? So that's what we always advise newcomers to crypto.
All right. Well, thanks a lot for taking the time to speak with me. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I hope you enjoyed your stay in Barcelona.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Gracias.
Gracias. De nada.